Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. I hope you're doing well. And today we are talking Tanner's Tiger by Lawrence Block, book number 5 in the Evan Tanner series. We find Evan Tanner, the spy who cannot sleep, who doesn't want to be a spy, is back. And what exotic location do we find him in today? Oh, Canada. Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. We're talking Evan Tanner, book number 5, Tanner's Tiger, published in 1985 by Lawrence Block. I'm really enjoying getting through this series. I've got 3 more in the series. There's 8 books. I'm enjoying them. They're out there. They're not knockouts out of the park books, but they're just nice, fun, low maintenance, low investment type reads. And so we'll get into this. So, summary of the plot. We're again, Evan Tanner, if you don't know, he's that unusual spy because he doesn't want to be a spy. Everyone thinks that he's a spy, but he's really not a spy. But what he is he's a person that in the Korean War had the sleep center of his brain hit with shrapnel, and now he cannot sleep. And it is very unusual, but at the same time, it affords him the ability to read a lot, learn languages, read periodicals, join and spend what little funds he has in all of these geopolitical and social groups that come to aid him when he's out gallivanting the world on these missions for the chief. And lo and behold, he is on a personal getaway with Mina when the book starts to the expo that is in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. And unbeknownst to him, he gets shipped back across to the United States. Canada doesn't want anything to do with him. They've heard about him. They flag him at the airport. They send him back, and then the book jumps kind of back in time, and we kind of catch up to where we are today, and we learn many different things. And so I found that really interesting. I think what ends up happening though is the chief gets in contact with him and throws out a mission that he really doesn't think Evan or anyone else really wants. And lo and behold, it's in Canada. And so Evan takes upon the mission and heads to Canada with Mina. And when they're there and they're at the expo, they're at this Cuban pavilion that's in the expo. And the next thing you know, Evan turns around and Mina is gone. And Mina is, if you didn't know, is this adopted daughter of Evan Tanner. She's a Lithuanian princess, but she's staying with Tanner after he kind of extradited her out of the country in one of the previous novels. And so Evan feels like it's his duty, obviously he feels like it's his duty to find out what's going on with Mina. And what he does is he uncovers this Cuban kind of human trafficking thing that's going on at the expo. And to spring Mina and figure out what it all is going on, where she's at, and what happened, he uses his resources, social engineers like normal, using all of these geopolitical and groups that he belongs to. And in what seems to be Evan Tanner lucky style, he comes across a woman named that is named Arlette, and she is a part of a social group that he is a member of on paper. And she happens to be willing to help him, and she happens to be sort of a nymphomaniac. And so she helps Evan. They recruit some other people to the cause. They come up with a plan, and that's the summary of this book. So let's talk about what I enjoyed. I enjoyed the start. I really enjoyed the interaction between Mina and Evan. I thought it was great. I really like Mina as a character. I thought it was really, really good. And it dovetails nicely into something I disliked, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I like the fact that, Evan's kind of down on his luck at the beginning. His funds are low. The air conditioner's broke. He doesn't know if anyone can fix it, especially now. It's in the middle of summer and everyone's, dying of heat stroke, everywhere. It's just hot in New York. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that we get some more from the chief. The chief's there. I really enjoyed that. I always like how, even though these are dated because they're written decades ago, I really enjoyed the social groups that he's a part of and swims in, so to speak. I really enjoyed that. Um, I enjoyed the fact that the more you learn about Evan and you get a little more layers through each book, no, he doesn't want to be a spy. The chief doesn't. The chief is completely, never asked. He doesn't know the chief's name. The chief knows his name, but he doesn't know that Evan's not a spy. He thinks that Evan's a spy or was a spy who worked for the CIA, but the CIA tracks Evan, bugs his phone and everything else because they think he's a person of interest. So no one really knows what Evan is, but Evan's not a spy, but everybody thinks he's a spy. I think it's just a really interesting premise. I really enjoyed. There's a couple Easter eggs. One of them was about Anala, who was another love interest in a previous novel, and his son Todor. And apparently Anala might be pregnant, giving Todor a brother or sister, and it was just mentioned in passing a couple times, but I thought that was very interesting. Maybe it'll come into play in books 6, 7, or 8, but I really enjoyed that. There is a couple excerpts. There's no quote, but kind of sum up the series in its quirky ways. I have a couple things that happen in the book that I would share with you. Arlette, this woman, love interest, that helps him, and Evan they find out how the Cuban pavilion and the Cubans are doing this human trafficking. They find out how they're doing it physically, how they're capturing people, and so they find this and they get captured themselves in a way, but no one's there, and they are able to escape this trapdoor thing that's there. But when they're trapped, they Arlette thinks it's during that time that it's time for some spice and romance. And it's just like, we're trying to find Mina, we're trying to figure all this out, and okay, I guess it's she's missing. He's working his contacts. He's trying to put a plan in place, and Arlette's just like, hey, let's have some. It's just out there, and I kind of like it, and it's kind of weird, but yeah. There's a couple dislikes. There wasn't enough chief. We got the chief in the beginning. Usually, the former entries of these books, at the end, when we get the conclusion, at the end, we kind of Evan's meeting with the kind of debriefing with the chief, and the chief, we get more chief in there, and we get the interaction, and we kind of figure out, okay, that was nice. You wrapped that up really nicely. I like how you did that, like he does, like he usually tells Tanner in the previous entries. We get no more chief in the end. There's no chief in the end. In fact, the end is kind of another dislike for me because there's no dialogue from Mina either. You got the dialogue in the beginning, which I really enjoyed. Mina is abducted. Once at the conclusion, there's no more Mina. There's no more Mina dialogue at all. And it's kind of, we don't get them back in New York. There's no debrief, like I said. There's no, sunsetting. It's just kind of like, it's a kind of an interesting ending. And I don't know if that's going to roll into the next story, and this next story is going to pick up from there, but it was kind of jarring considering what I'm coming to expect. In terms of rating, I give this a 4.0. Of the 5 books I rated, this is the second lowest. So there's been one that was like a 3.8. This is the second lowest. I mean, it was okay. It was good. I will just leave it at that. In terms of overall impression, again, like I said, not the best in the series, but enjoyable. He's such a fun character, and the premises are just so out there. It's dated, but I kind of like it. I don't know. It's kind of cheesy, but I like it, kind of thing. They're low interest, they're low maintenance, they're low effort. They're kind of funny at times. I'm invested in the character because I think it's a really interesting premise. You just, when you think about characters out there, you just don't see that a lot. The title I thought was interesting. I read some of the afterword from Block, and kind of a fun fact. Block said in the afterword that this was the first time he actually went to the place where he was going to write one of the Tanner books. So he actually went to Canada to the expo. He actually was at this Cuban pavilion that's mentioned in the story. And so I thought that was interesting. The other thing is the title for the book. There was a different title. I don't know, and it doesn't say in the after what the title was, but his agent reached out to Block and told him they want to change the publisher wanted to change the title. And so they wanted to change it to something else, and Block's like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So Arlette's throw, her tiger skin throw, and her barrette are put in this book solely because they wanted to change the title to Tanner's Tiger. I thought that was interesting. So overall, again, I enjoy these. They're low effort, even though they might not be 5 stars. I enjoy them for what they are. They get funny. They're kind of out there. Again, like, who thinks about, well, I guess we should have some spice. We're in the middle of a dungeon and your kid's still lost and we haven't figured it all out. Like, it's just quirky and I enjoyed it. So that's my review, long-windedly, of Tanner's Tiger by Lawrence Block. I hope you enjoy this, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Thanks.